Good evening. I'm newly appointed Sergeant Angel August. The issue I'm dealing with currently is while inside our station locker room, I overheard several officers, members of my unit as well as other officers, make several racial and ethnic derogatory statements, but I was unable to determine which individuals made the comments. My goal is to successfully communicate to my subordinates, along with the other police personnel, that the Houston Police Department shall maintain a model workplace free from any prohibited conduct to include racial and ethnic derogatory statements. My actions are I will immediately announce myself in the locker room and attempt to identify the officers who made the actual statements. I'll notify my lieutenant of the situation. If I am unable to identify the officers who actually made the comments, then I will print out the general orders on prohibited conduct, and then I will address this in roll call. I will advise that I will not tolerate any willful disregard for department policy. I will read this policy verbatim to roll call and ask for questions and comments regarding the actual department policy general order. I will then confirm that each officer President roll call signed the roster, confirming that they received the general order, that they read the general order, and that they understood it. Next, I will request additional posters and notices highlighting prohibited conduct from our ERS unit to be distributed throughout the station. If I am able to identify the particular officers, then I will immediately separate them at the station. I'll notify my lieutenant of the updated situation, and I will then notify the officers who are not in my unit's immediate supervisor. I'm then going to pull the personnel file on each of my subordinates, including their IED history, to determine if any previous prohibited conduct or related infraction had occurred. I would then explain to my officers that this type of conduct is a violation of department policy, and we must hold ourselves to the utmost professional level. I would explain that I lead by example and I treat all people with integrity, dignity, and respect, which is expected of them as well. I would implement the disciplinary proceedings and request a redress training on employee conduct and behavior to be sent up through my chain of command for approval. I'm going to reiterate that this learned behavior will not be tolerated and establish a follow-up meeting the day after each officer completes their redress training to monitor and measure their behavior. I want to hear each officer's response to what they're feeling and if they believe they're capable of discontinuing that type of behavior. Unfortunately, if someone states that they don't think that they are capable, then the Houston Police Department will not be a place that they need to be employed. I do, however, have faith in all of my officers that they are capable of learning to be loyal, respectful officers. I'm then going to create a documented working file on each officer and update my lieutenant on the actions that was taken. I'll measure their improvement by monitoring them closely, by checking by on their scenes, and remaining a positive role model. In summary, after overhearing racial and ethnic derogatory statements in our locker room from several officers, I identified those officers as my subordinates as well as several others. I notified my lieutenant as well as the other officers' immediate supervisors. I started the disciplinary process per department policy, which states I must immediately act. I retrieved and read each of my subordinates' personnel file, including their IED history, searching for any previous prohibited misconduct behavior or similar infractions. I met with my subordinates individually and requested that each complete redress training on conduct and behavior in the workplace. I submitted my disciplinary paperwork through my chain of command for approval, and I created a working file on each officer documenting the incident and the actions taken. This concludes my scenario.